You survived the most famous serial killer since Jack the Ripper. The 5-year anniversary is coming up. I think a lot of people would really like to hear from you after all this time. Want to know what it's like to be in the presence of that kind of evil. What goes through your brain when he's close enough to you and feel his breath.
I'd be happy to, if I could do the Dick Van Dyke thing, keep working like that until like I'm in my 90s, I'd be stoked. I love this character so much. As long as I can keep finding new fun stories to tell with him, I'm there.
I agree. I mean, I will follow David Damien into hell, literally. And I'd ever want to really retire from this job anyway, similar to what Dave had said. I love acting and I love Sienna. So we'll see what happens. So many. So many Final Girls I take inspiration from. I grew up watching them. I mean, I've always loved Lori, Ripley, Sydney, Nancy. God, I can't even name all of them. Aaron. I truly do love. I'm also am a huge fan of Mia Allen from the Evil Dead 2013 version. That they all kind of I take inspiration from every single one of them, and of course infuse my own thoughts and love into her. But I'm inspired by every single one of those women. I think that she is truly a person that fights for family. I think her main focus right now is Gabby. But I also do think, because I don't know, I've grappled with this thought. I don't know how much she fights for herself as a person, which might be a bit of a character flaw for her. But I think she also thinks in her mind, she's the only one that can defeat Art the Clown. And he will continue to kill people outside of her family, as we see. So I think she has the weight on her shoulders.
When the vomit is coming out of that tube and just out of her mouth, just the vomit in general gets me, but that whole notion that I am shoving this plastic tube down this woman's and hammering it in the whole entire time she's screaming and she's all of her insides are starting to come up through it's just that's so gross to me. And the stuff we were using was so gross. They were using like this mushroom soup that just smelled horrible, and we're in a very hot, humid, smelly house. And so that was bad. Then Samantha comes in and just wanting to watch what's going on. She's eating this horrible smelling bag of corn nuts, which is just disgusts me anyway. And she's just right up in my face. Hey, Dave, you okay? I'm like, oh God. I was just I was not handling it because I'm also a very empathetic person. So that was a bit where I was just really imagining this poor woman, what she was going through.
Yeah.
Because usually I can turn that off in my head, but that was like, ah, God, it was just too many factors all at once, and I was really trying to contain it, and I'm very happy I did, because the what got me through it was just knowing that if I threw up after being in that makeup chair for so long, my makeup artist Heather was going to kill me.
I saw him today.
Who? How can you be sure it was really him?
I could feel it.
Who is this Santa? He's scaring my kid.
Yeah, he's scaring me too.
Hey, Santa's handing out presents!
Go on Twitter. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God. I try to turn it off after cut, like immediately. I try to just like put it behind me and then try to regroup in between, and then action comes again and I try to take it on again. But at the end of the day, I've definitely developed some breathing exercises to really decompress. I might take a bath, wear like one of those like face masks. I try to do some self-care things or just watch a really funny show. But it's usually fine. And in between, like the cast and crew are hilarious. They're so fun and we all really love each other. So it definitely helps us get through the day.
I'm pretty much the same. I just kind of like to decompress and everything when I got a day off, and I do a lot of video games and stuff like. So I just that's always been my therapy ever since I was a kid. Bullied. That was how I dealt with being bullied. Was just like I got my aggression or whatever was bothering me out on video games. And so that's what I do, or something creative. Like I recently got into building Legos a lot again, so I'm having fun with that. So it's like I like doing something where I can either play game because I love games, I love to read, I love to be entertained. So as long as something entertains me, I'm good. I think it's just a lot of just joking around. There's constant just joking around. It's just it's we're a ragtag bunch of goofs, and it's I think that lends itself to it. It's like we just have fun. We're all very close. It's like I said, like earlier, they're just trying their best to make me throw up because I thought that would be funny.
We've all known each other for like half a decade now. Like I've known Dave for 5 years, and with most of the crew and Kat, well, I guess mostly crew, yeah, we're truly family. So we all have a comfort around each other. We can always let our guard down around each other. There's no real like saving face. We don't have to really try in between takes. We just exist with each other. When we're not goofing around, we're just very comfortable. Yeah.
And that's the thing, is like because of that comfort level, sometimes we're able to actually be our real self. So if we aren't comfortable with something, we can express it and no one thinks anything of it. They're like, okay, it's like sometimes I get stressed if we're a little bit behind schedule. I'm a very schedule oriented person. It's part of being on the spectrum for me. And it's just like, and I sometimes will let that know. It's like, guys, I'm very worried right now. We're very behind schedule. Like we got to get on top of things. And no one, I feel like in the past when I've worked on other productions, I'm too afraid to say stuff like that, to air my concerns because I'm afraid someone's going to think I'm difficult to work with or something like that. So I keep those bottled up. But here I can say that and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're right. Totally. We understand completely. Let's make sure we're on schedule. We got all this stuff taken care of." And I feel very free to actually just be myself, which is great. That was incredible. Absolutely. Like my favorite week on set was the whole entire bar scene because it's me, Clint Howard, Bradley Stryker, and Danny Roebuck. And I've watched all three of these guys in so many movies and TV shows my whole entire life. And they are so funny. We had so much fun together. It's like, and Damien, it's the atmosphere we have on set. Damien allows people to experiment and play. And especially this week, he was just like, you guys, here's the script. If you feel like adding anything to it, just do it. Just have fun. And that's what we did, especially Danny and I. We had when the whole entire torture bit with him, oh my God, he was constantly throwing things to me. He's such a great scene partner in that regard. Because he's a former stage actor as well, and he did a lot of comedy, so he knows how to be a good straight man and how to throw you the joke. And it was just constant, just back and forth with us. And that was just pure joy for me. I like the end of that week, I was in the car going back to the hotel. I started crying a little bit because I was just so happy. Because like, it was just magical. That whole week was just pure magic for me. And so being able to share the screen with a bunch of actors that I have respected over the years, it was wonderful. Just absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, I was lucky in that I met some of these actors before we even got to set, and some of them I didn't even know that I was working with. Like Danny, I saw him we both really love Halloween, and we were both exploring this Halloween store near me, and he was like, "Oh yeah, Lauren's there," and I was like, "Danny Romack, holy shit!" And he was just like, "Oh, we're gonna be working together." I was like, "We are?" I had no idea that he was like, "Oh, ask Damien," and I was so excited, and. And same with Clint Howard. I met him for the first time this past weekend, and he's just amazing. Him and his wife, Kat, and his family are just so beautiful. But with Jason, we met at conventions in the past, and he's just such a wonderful person. And I unfortunately didn't get to work with him, but I did come and visit him on set when he was working with the younger version of me. Yeah. And I was just floored by the performance. And he calls the younger version, Sienna, Cece, and I was like, "Oh, Damien, like that's really smart. Like I love that nickname." And he was like, "That was Jason's idea. Like that I didn't have that written in the script." And I was like, "Oh my God." I just, and even seeing him on screen, I was just floored. He just had this beautiful paternal energy that I was like, I want him to be my dad. Holy shit. Tom Savini, like when he came on screen, like Dave can attest to this, it was uproarious in the theater. We were just so honored that these people that we've always loved wanted to be a part of our project.
Why would he come back here? Even if he was alive, which he isn't. Wouldn't you want to get as far away from here as possible, as far away from you?
You both know this isn't over. I have to go back to the Terrifier.
It's still buried there, isn't it?
It might be the only thing that can stop them. Looking forward to the best Christmas ever, filled with fun, smiles, and laughter.